retiring to bed, a palate cleanser. Today I made Sphinxy, the bot that gives you a riddle to start your day if you're needing to start your day. Oh wait, I gotta change the voice. Oh, it's already there. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Sphinxy. Seems like you need a riddle to help you begin your day. Sound like a plan? Sure, why not? Lay one on me. Okay, let me get my bag here. Nope, that's for kids. Nope, that's for data scientists. Here's one for you miscellaneousnesses. What is the thing that makes something strange yet wonderful? B. Oh, strawberries. See, I got nothing. Hey, how about this one? What is it when you're left behind at school while all your friends are out having fun? B. Sounds like my D. Or E. Believing ass. C. I know, but we've got to work with what we have. A. Okay, well, how about this one then? Why does someone take time off from their job to go and do some more work somewhere else? V. Who the hell made you George Carlin? You still ain't funny as shit in this new century, dude. C. I'll try again. What can be done without ever needing anything in return? B. Your hair cut or trim, but they cost money. C. 501c3 bork jobs. B. What? Is that a new band name? C. The IRS. B. And what kind of person would just give away her hard-earned cash for no reason whatsoever? That's where most people get stuck, because there's no rhyme or reason other than giving. Back to help others in need. There is a hidden message, though, which should become apparent if you follow along until the end. If you think you may have figured it out before the video ends, please leave your guesses in the comments section below. Good luck! Let's see who guesses first. B. Nice try, bitch! Wow, looks like Sphinx really doesn't want anyone figuring out this riddle. B. Well, he was clearly trying to make sure we had time to finish the entire video. C. So is it right now? Nope. I'm guessing everyone thought she meant literally and that since time travel is impossible. B! She wanted us to watch this whole damn thing instead of jumping straight to the answer. C. So why not have her just tell us? It's so simple. B. Do you remember what happened last year when you asked for a hint? You know, the one that got me kicked off of Tumblr. You're lucky I didn't post the link to the video here. Ah, damn right I did. Anyway, let's all be grateful that Sphinx took pity on our short attention spans. The answer is obvious by watching the rest of his little number. But don't take my word for it. Check out the vid and try to figure it out yourselves. Then come back here and comment with your answers in the comment section below. Whoever has the best explanation will get an extra dose of Sphinx from me in the comments after the video as a token of my appreciation. See you guys later, and good luck. Sphinx, huh? What could he possibly want to say that would make any sense at all and would fit into a rhyming pattern? If you've been following along, then you'll already have guessed what he's up to. It's like how most people look at those cryptic puzzles and miss the big picture because they have no context whatsoever. Don't be like them. Keep reading until the end. I promise this won't just give you another chance to insult Sphinx in the comments section either. He really doesn't deserve it any more than usual, considering how hard he worked to put this together for us. After you watch it, do yourself a favor and go check out that one episode of Star Trek, Voyager, where the characters meet aliens named Kes, Akampa, and Neelix, but only watch the first 10 minutes. That should explain everything. It was the morning before my junior year of college began, and I was preparing for yet another day of classes. As I opened the door of my room, there was my friend Kyle, wearing the same clothes as yesterday. Morning, Will. Can you believe what happened last night? The news said the police were going house to house searching for 2 fugitives who escaped last night. My heart skipped a beat when I heard his voice. Despite having grown out our hair, we still both had short buzz cuts, so it wasn't easy to tell which one was me. It made it difficult when talking on the phone or seeing someone in person. It also meant that it didn't matter much if I looked over at him now that he knew that I could recognize him and that he wouldn't be able to see that I recognized him back. You know, I replied calmly, trying not to seem nervous. Did you enjoy that? There was a hint in the form of an acrostic in the chilling scene above. The letters of each line spell out the answer, except you have to rearrange them into their proper order. Once you figure out what the final sentence says, which isn't all that hard, then go ahead and read along until you reach the part where I say it's time for breakfast, and then click play below and take a listen for yourself. Enjoy! As we walked down the street towards school, Kyle continued. Apparently these men murdered 5 people at some sort of retirement home near here. They were apparently homeless guys living there who found a way inside somehow. And get this, one of them is wanted by the police in Nevada after killing his entire family there. I tried not to look shocked but failed miserably. What did I just say about not giving away information? Carl asked with mock indignation as he turned to face me. I had already gotten used to how good he was at imitating my voice and mannerisms. You don't know it was really me, do you? Crime scene diorama time. Kids, get ready for another one of my patented puzzles that you will never solve unless you're a genius like myself. This one requires you to create your own crime scene for the victims using nothing more than household items you would normally find around the house. Don't worry if you can't make the right guesses, though. It won't count against you in any way, shape, or form. Just put everything back in place when you're done so I can admire what a great job you've done. But don't forget to close all of the blinds first. After breakfast, we went our separate ways towards campus. As I headed into class, I noticed that everyone seemed unusually tense, which wasn't too unusual considering that we were entering our last week before final exams. I was beginning to wonder why we hadn't received anything regarding the upcoming winter break. Usually, they tell us what we could expect from classes over spring break and let us pick out our vacation spots over the summer. Check your mailbox. It's a present of tiny vials. Just deposit some DNA in your way of choice, but not on yourself. Dummy. I knew where Kyle lived because he told me a couple weeks ago, but I didn't have the address of his dorm room until now. And thanks for sending me that Christmas card you sent me from Aunt Nana. I appreciate you being there for me during my parents' divorce, but she should be ashamed for having an aunt like you. I quickly ran across to my friend's desk to ask him about something, and that was when it happened. There was this loud pop noise as if someone had just snapped their fingers, only it was followed by complete silence. Everyone stopped moving as if they had just heard the words freeze frame. It was almost as if no one had moved at all since the explosion. A few seconds passed while nobody said anything. Then I started thinking maybe the bomb threat today is real after all. Or maybe everyone got up too fast. I couldn't see any other explanation for what was going on. It sounds ridiculous, but I thought I saw myself sitting next to you in the very seat.
Sorry, there's a cockroach.
Miana, what say you drive me to a motel in another state? We can tell everyone what you are driving me to an abortion, while anyone with a decoder ring set to B7 decodes abortion. Too hot this be an affair. If they get the joke, they will probably leave you alone. Good luck. You don't have to worry about the news people following us. The cameraman fell into the back seat of the car and broke his arm. He won't be able to cover our activities anymore. Hey guys, I need help with some homework. We're doing a project on how governments work, and I'm having a hard time finding any good examples from my home country. I figured I could talk to Kyle, seeing as he lives here now, but he hasn't been around lately, so I decided to give you all a try. Any advice would be appreciated. I knew I shouldn't have drunk all the coffee, but I had to stay awake long enough to make sure my grades were decent. When we were in college, I made the mistake of relying too much on caffeine and ended up not sleeping for 2 days straight. So you better believe that I didn't want to repeat that scenario again. Anyway, the professor assigned us this assignment last week, and she finally got around to handing out the test. She seemed pretty pissed off at first when she realized she hadn't given them yet because she wasn't happy about it being an online test. But after she handed it out, she took a deep breath and sat down at her desk, and promptly fainted dead away after looking it over. They carried her out unconscious, and I couldn't even get a glimpse of what was written on it. That's why I needed your help. What is the answer? You don't have to send me anything if you don't feel comfortable sending it. But please just comment with your guesses or ideas before reading the rest of the post. Thanks. Okay. Maybe the clue doesn't really explain itself quite well, but hopefully you'll figure it out soon enough. The answer to our little puzzle can be found by watching one particular episode of Star Trek, Voyager, which airs right here on ABC. The only problem is that we can't watch that episode today. We need to do something else first, once we've completed said task. Then we will have earned ourselves a special treat that involves taking a long hot bath together in order to celebrate. If we don't hear from you in the next hour, we're going to assume that you won't be able to come back tonight. My friend and I went to our favorite cafe for breakfast and to catch up on what had happened during the past week. He had told me about his latest adventures with his girlfriend, and I had let him know about some of my new experiences as well. He laughed at my stories, and I did the same with his. Then he looked at me intently and asked a question that had been bothering me ever since he'd first started dating his current girl. Did he really love her? And was it more than a crush? To answer these questions would require revealing a secret that could change everything between us forever. So I gave him an evasive response, but not without feeling somewhat guilty afterwards. And just like that, we got sidetracked onto other topics and didn't talk much after that. Until now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was killing a roach. Days, motherfucker.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Kyle shouted over the din of the crowd. It sounded like people were having fun and enjoying themselves while waiting outside of the bar for the doors to open. I walked over to where he was standing, leaning against the wall next to the door. There wasn't anything else to do until the line moved again, so we waited along with everyone else. A few minutes later, one of the bouncers stepped out of the club, grabbed a couple people off the end of the line, and threw them into the building. It seemed a little cruel at first, but it also meant that we weren't left behind anymore. I hope this works. As far as anyone can tell from looking inside, it should be empty enough for you guys to sneak in without any trouble. Please be careful when entering. It was already well past midnight by the time I reached my destination. I couldn't help myself from slowing down in front of the place. I thought I had better get there before too late because I wouldn't want to wake up anyone who might happen to see me knocking on the window or the side of the house. When I saw a light come on upstairs, I knew I had made the right decision. The curtains on the second floor window were drawn closed, and it looked like someone was home. I knocked lightly at first, and then a bit harder. We both stared at each other with our mouths agape. Then we looked around at our surroundings, which still hadn't changed. We quickly realized that we had gotten lost somewhere, but neither of us were willing to admit it. Instead, we began searching for clues as to where exactly we were. After what seemed to be an eternity, but really only took about 5 minutes to find, we discovered an old wooden sign hanging on the back of a tree trunk next to the road. It read, Tunnel Hashwan. Well, here was another riddle to solve. So we set off again toward the entrance of the tunnel and began walking until we came upon two figures standing guard outside. They immediately spotted us and walked towards us. I could feel their presence closing in around us as they drew nearer, and suddenly everything went black. There are lots of things I'm going to miss when I go to college. My friends, my family, my teachers, etc. But one thing I won't be able to take with me is this diary that has been with me since I was a little kid. You see, it's my favorite toy. It keeps all my secrets, and I love knowing that it will always be there to record the things that happen to me from now on. But wait, how can I not take something with me that I'll be using in the future? Did the answer to the very first riddle become another riddle? If so, then what am I supposed to do with a flashlight if no batteries were used? Let's try turning it on without pressing any buttons. Wait, no power at all. Maybe just plug it into the wall socket instead. Oh, a fuse blew out. So it must mean it doesn't work without electricity. But why would it need power anyway? Just think about it. Is it possible for a flashlight to have an internal light source that only comes to life after being turned on by a battery? Yes, does seem like an unlikely idea, but it seems like you're missing the point here. There aren't any riddles to solve. They don't want you to solve them. The answers already exist. They want you to figure out what the questions really are. Now ask yourself, did anything strange or different ever happen around a flashlight when it wasn't plugged in before? Why do we call them flashlights? And it sure isn't because of their amazing performance in darkness. Oh, I see what you mean about the George Cotton thing. I'll stop that. I had a long day today, and I'm looking forward to going home and having dinner with my girlfriend tonight. As I was driving home through this neighborhood with nothing much else going on, I heard this weird sound coming from behind me. I quickly realized there was someone walking behind my car and apparently playing some kind of game. But who's got time to play games these days? Anyway, he walked up next to me, as if he knew where I lived, then gave me a friendly smile.
And that's it for now. Good night.